live from the island.
Just running, family stuff, so I really hadn't.
How y'all doing with the, Mallory Park organization, the, recreation field?
Yeah, we've raised, been committed for $250 million, both private money. Yeah, the hardest thing is figuring out what it
You're
costs
from
to build them.
Dickerson or Dobson?
Yes, sir, they both confirmed yesterday.
Done that, I know that there are folks supposed to try and get
When I came in here,
meetings.
as you know, it was canceled because of COVID.
So we'll see if
Y'all
we get some
scheduled
additional
another one.
Yeah.
It
help.
wasn't
The
full. It's
number
on
I
that
heard
Saturday,
was
because I
3
didn't
million.
attend.
It seems like a lot
Okay.
Wow.
of money, but part of it is,
I'll just check on that.
what I call the big softball field
You were at the meetings and
There's
take
some
your minutes, right?
No,
You
wet
did in February.
area in the back of it. That I think's owned by
And then they
JWSC.
oversaw the meetings.
And then we go to church, that Presbyterian church, I know that neighborhood flooding.
Yeah.
So I think part of what we're talking about doing is piping that, putting, parking on top of it that, I don't know anything about engineering, but they tell me will help alleviate some of the flooding for the residents we have.
Cap presented that last night
Oh, did he?
at the town hall. That's where the parking's gonna go.
Yeah.
But apparently there's a stand of trees back there, used to be a water tower, I guess, which is the JWSC property.
Yeah, and so, you know, I've always thought that, especially if you could add those spaces, you might alleviate some of the village parking problem. If you had a place where you told all the tour buses, you have to drop off here.
That's what he said
Oh, did you?
last night, was that it would alleviate the, parking problem for the village. That's where he's having his problem.
Yeah, maybe like something in it for him, but, it's not far. I mean, I park down there sometimes.
Alright, that's a quorum, it's 9:05, let's go ahead and get this meeting started. I know that we're still waiting for 2 other commissioners who have confirmed, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. Madam Vice Chair, you wanna lead us in prayer after we have a moment of silence? So we'll take a moment of silence, followed by Madam Vice Chair Bailey leading us in prayer.
Good morning. I wanted to sit down. Heavenly Father, I come before you this morning, and I ask that you continue to bring communication, remove strife, and let us continue to get on with the business of Brunswick Housing Authority. Let everybody be mindful that everybody has a voice, that everybody has a right to be heard. I thank you, Lord, for where you have placed us right now, and continue to lead us. In your holy word I pray. Amen.
Moving on to the agenda, I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
I second that motion.
Any further discussion?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Yes. So you
Yes.
said you need, okay, I'm sorry. We still not gonna do it. It's just,
No,
Mr. President.
that's what we need to do.
It's it.
Mhm,
That's what I'm saying.
mhm.
Okay. We have some amendments to the agenda this morning. Because we lack one board member, we're going to defer item 5, approval of the May 2022 financial reports, and defer the approvals needed 1, 2, 3, and 4, and add Choice Neighborhood Planning Grant as number 6.
And I would like to add to that too,
I'm, point of order, there's a motion.
A motion to accept.
Hang on. So would you like to amend your motion, Commissioner Kilgore, for the changes to the agenda?
No, Ms. Bailey's got a motion,
Right, this is a discussion of,
so, that motion takes precedent. And either we get a second on her motion before we can move on to other business.
right,
We gotta deal with her motion.
right. We were initially in your motion, and now we're in a discussion phase of the initial motion to approve the agenda.
We did not vote to approve the agenda?
We have not voted to approve the agenda.
Well, then her motion's out of order.
All we got to was the discussion phase. That's why I asked, would you like to amend your agenda? Your motion, I'm sorry, would you like to amend your motion?
Okay. If I understand what's going on, is Ms. Bailey's made a motion to amend the agenda,
She's
correct?
discussed that we need to, the changes we need to make to the agenda in the discussion phase of your initial motion.
Was the motion to approve the agenda or approve the minutes from the prior meeting?
The agenda,
The agenda.
Approve the agenda.
Okay.
And no, because I have no awareness of what Ms. Bailey's addressing. If she wishes to make a motion to amend the agenda, she's free to do that, but I'm not gonna make a motion.
okay, so our motion currently is, you made a motion to approve the agenda as is, seconded by Madam Vice Chair. We're in discussion of what changes we need to make to the agenda.
And anybody who wishes to make those changes is free to make the motion for an amendment.
So do you want to have your motion to accept the agenda as is voted on, or do you want to rescind your initial motion?
Neither. I've made the motion and it stands.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no reason to amend my motion.
Okay. So we have here a discussion on to amend the agenda. So we will need to vote on Mr. Kilgore's, Commissioner Kilgore's motion to leave it as is, and then come back in to amend it.
Point of order?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Point of
sir.
order.
She may make a motion to amend my motion.
Okay,
And then we would vote on her amendment
which would cover,
and then vote on the main motion for the agenda after approving the amendment. Then we could approve the agenda. If that makes sense.
yes.
Okay.
So, Madam Vice Chair, are you making a motion to amend the agenda?
I make a motion to amend the agenda.
Can you go over that one more time for clarity?
Okay. Make a motion to amend the agenda to defer item 5 and to defer underneath approvals needed.
I'm sorry, point of order. Roman numeral 5 or approval needed 5? The number
Yes,
5 or
please.
Roman numeral? You're talking about Roman numeral 5?
5, the approval,
Roman numeral, yeah, because I
approval of
just,
the May 22 financial reports.
I said, to amend, to defer 5, and then I said to defer underneath approvals needed, so that
Okay.
separates the different number fives that
Gotcha.
I'm explaining.
Okay, thank you.
And to defer item 1 through 4, and add item 6, add choice neighborhood planning grant.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on the amendment to the agenda?
Yes, point of inquiry, why are we deferring anything? Just because one member's not here?
Well, I don't think it's a matter of the member not being here. Again, Finance Committee is still working for the budget and all items that need to be approved there. We have not finalized on it. We suspect that, of course, we understand that our June 30 deadline is approaching, and as we suspect we'll have to have some sort of special call once we get everything finalized.
And Mr. Chair, according to our neighborhood, choice neighborhood grant, due to time constraints, we need the staff, Ms. Strickland and the appointees to meet with the city. Those appointments of the city as well as Ms. Treese Hamilton, who is the executive director over, I believe it's Coastal.
Yeah,
Coastal
outreach.
Action.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we'll have
that's
a
the
little more.
amendment. That's why we added that in.
We'll have a little more discussion on the choice neighborhood planning grant here when we get to that topic. But again, Finance Committee, we've been working very diligently with staff, particularly Ms. Geyer, on seeing what we can finalize on this budget.
So that addresses the budget, but it does not address why we're deferring the approval of the May financial report.
I believe within this budget, there's also a revised budget for this year as well, that is still under review. And that will give us an opportunity to further review not only this year's revised budget, our fiscal year ending 2022 as well, 2022, and our fiscal year ending, proposed budget for fiscal year ending 2023.
And again, the May historical financial record is written, it's done, and it's not affected by the budget discussion. So the historical financial accounting, if you want to defer it, I mean, it goes to the
I think
consensus of the
that-
board. I just don't understand why we're deferring something that's a historical record.
Right, and I agree with you there, but I think that in this, again, looking at both budgets, not to add any additional confusion, it would be best for us to defer at this moment until we can fully grasp everything that's going on with the revised 2022 budget.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor of, this is the vote for the amending the agenda. So signal by the usual, say aye. Aye. Those opposed have the same.
No,
No. Any abstentions? That motion carries 3-1. So now to deal with, to ensure that we're right, we need to go ahead and do the overall agenda. Yes, so now we have the initial motion, which was the agenda itself. Now that it has been amended, is there any further discussion on the initial motion to approve the agenda? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same.
no.
Any abstentions? proceed on this issue, or are you gonna abstain? So are you gonna vote on approving the agenda, or are you gonna abstain? We did change the agenda.
I believe. I believe. What's up? What's the agenda?
With all respect, I don't, it'd be unfair to ask him to vote on something for which he was not present.
Exactly.
But it'd be my view, but that's just my thought.
Well, I was gonna ask if he wanted to abstain since he's present now, because he doesn't, that would be the best course of action for him at this point. Or
Mr.
not.
Dixon's, or Dobson's, food to do whatever.
Yes.
I'll say.
Okay, so that motion carries 3 in favor, 1 abstention, and, or excuse me, 1 nay and 3 abstentions. Or 1 abstention. Math is just. That's what you get for talking to me about SPLOS. Those numbers are rolling around in my head now. All right, old business. Approval of the regular minutes of the regular meeting held on May 11, 2022. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes?
I have one suggested editorial change, please, sir.
Yes.
On page 2, next to last paragraph, motion passed 4-0 with 1 abstention,
Extension.
not an extension.
Extension. Any other comments on the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting? I'll entertain a motion.
Move, we approve the minutes as drafted with the 1 correction.
Second.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Kilgore to approve the minutes as drafted with the 1 change. Seconded by Commissioner Hickerson. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same. That one passes unanimously. Moving on to executive director's new business items, which will be the write-off of attendance accounts receivable, classified as uncollectible as of May 31, 2022. So everyone have a chance to review those. I'll entertain a motion.
So on this, write-off, on the write-offs,
Yes.
the $5 late fee kicked in first of this year. It's supposed to be removed, why they still ending up on, I understand this house not here this morning. Why these $5 late fees still ending up on these write-offs when it's supposed to be, eliminated?
The ones that is showing up is probably, we'll check and make sure, but because it's not on all of them, I'm assuming these are on older accounts that have not yet been written off. They're going through the court process.
And at last month's meeting, I asked that question of how many more, I know residents, are they going through this process and they still showing up, so. I don't understand how they keep getting in here.
If I may, it's of no real consequence. This is a write-off. And so, not only is the tenant not having to pay, it's an entry necessary to remove items from the books and records that are uncollected. And so it has no financial effect whatsoever, it's simply a write-off.
Right, but these get charged to the people's credit, right? I was told, and if it doesn't matter, it shouldn't be on here.
But some of these, if you look back, the charges go to, August and September of 2021.
Right.
So it just, these people have finally just made it through the court system, which has been backlogged, and are at the point of being written off now.
Okay.
Are we aware of approximately how many of these are backlog? I know that the court's backlog, but are we aware of approximately how many of our residents are in that backlog process?
I don't know off the top of my head, but we can find out.
I asked that question last night.
These are, I would imagine, or I would think, no, I would assume, that's the best way, that these individuals that didn't have the $5 fee are the ones that are approximately are going through the appeals process as well, possibly,
Going through the appeals process?
or have appealed and. now
Yeah,
they're-
they've exhausted all of their appeals and all their rights in the court system. These people are no longer living with us.
And none of them signed up for the repayment agreements.
If they signed up, they didn't pay payments that were due.
Those, under the, COVID, when we gave them a chance to not have to pay,
But
I
not,
thought that didn't apply.
Hmm?
Did that apply? I thought everything was waived financially.
Through COVID?
Yeah,
Yeah, there was no late payments through that period of time. But these would have been outside of that period of time, either before or after.
I thought the court system, was, waived too.
I mean,
That was still in effect
if,
during that period?
During COVID, there were no evictions. I think these are all people either after the eviction moratorium stopped.
Okay, but they still held responsible for,
yeah, they still have to pay the rent.
okay, those people are still in the units, are they?
No.
Evicted?
All of the people in this report are no longer housed with us.
But the chairman Bailey was saying, she was saying, would that affect their, status going forward? Already, why, get another unit, or we would even, try to get a loan for making anything like that? That-
Because they have a bad debt. I mean, they still owe it.
So that's still pending. I had the wrong idea, I thought everything was way dropped because of the conditions of the COVID.
No.
So we don't know how many people involved in that process, conviction process,
No.
was that?
Our tenants' accounts receivable are about half of what they were a few months back when they were so high. It's
Yeah.
about half now. So that's a combination of the courts opening back up and the moratorium ending, and some people, I'm assuming, paying their rent, their balances.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Still seeking a motion.
Oh, a motion to approve the, write-off tenants accounts receivable as of May 31st, 2022.
Most second.
We have a motion by Madam Vice Chair Bailey to approve the tenants accounts receivable, and seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Are there any further discussions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those have the same. That motion passes unanimously. Moving on to agenda item 6 was the Choice Neighborhood Planning Grant. I assume everyone got that in their email when I sent it out, including staff, yes? Okay, so, staff, what is your interpretation and or comments on the Choice Neighborhood Planning Grant?
If I may, I didn't get it, but, so, go ahead, but,
Okay, just, I'm sorry, Mr. Strickland. The Choice Neighborhood Planning Grant is by HUD, through HUD to, I think it's essentially a $500,000 grant to go through and figure out what property and or neighborhood in partnerships generally with the municipal government and or a nonprofit to go through and look at a particular property and or neighborhood to begin the planning process to redevelop it.
I recommend Frederica Road.
He said Frederica Road. I think that's outside of our jurisdiction, but I do agree.
Is that for a roundabout? Did you make a motion to fund a roundabout?
To fund a roundabout.
I'm just curious. Is that video on?
Yeah.
That's it.
You got me there, Commissioner Kilgore, you got me. I assume that you're familiar with the Choice Neighborhood Planning Grant, and I know there's a can of worms there. There's also a, was it July 28th deadline for it, such and so forth. I apologize, I didn't bring any additional paperwork and stuff. So will you check your spam? I noticed that a lot of my emails have been have been going to spam, and I've been instructed also that my emails have been going to spam. So please check your spam folder. It may be in there. If not, send me an email. I'll be more than happy to resend all of that stuff, and or I do believe we were all included on it anyway. But
Good.
More than happy to resend over to you.
Let's move forward, yes, sir.
Okay, so, Ms. Strickland, again, you were gonna give us your thoughts on the planning grant.
We honestly, as staff, have not had time to sit down and look at it yet.
Mhm.
We've had REACT inspections this week that we've been preparing for, so, we don't have, anything to, address on it at this point.
I wasn't looking for an adjustment on it other than, are you
We
aware
haven't
of it?
even discussed it as staff yet.
Are you aware of it and
Yes, we're aware
the
of it.
various things that potentially could go into it?
Yes,
Okay, great.
that has just not been our focus.
Right, I understand those REACT inspections
Yes.
are intensive,
Yes,
yes.
and they're happening as we said.
As we speak, yes.
Mhm.
I understand, as I was coming into the lobby, the nice Miss Walker, is that the front desk? She informed me that that was one of the inspectors coming in right behind me.
Mhm.
So, yes, I understand they're very intensive
Yes,
and I hope we do well.
we do too.
So in lieu that the inspection is going on, if there's any deadlines to be made for this neighborhood planning grant, will you still meet those deadlines?
Well, I'm not sure if Mr. Strickland can officially answer that. The deadline to have this put in is actually July 28th. So,
Okay.
I'm sure that she can begin the initiation of it
Yes.
with staff and such and so forth, and from my understanding, maybe if they qualify, one of the two applicants that the recruiter has said has applied, maybe they can, pick up where Mr. Strickland left off and or the appointees, but, yeah, I think I think that it at least, as a planning grant, it gives us an opportunity as a board and younger staff members, in terms of tenure.
I was
We'll
just
have
getting
an
ready to say,
opportunity.
that's an age discrimination.
Will give us an opportunity to get our feet wet in the process
Exactly.
of going through and planning for and how we should progress with the development of properties. We will have an excellent, my understanding, support system through HUD, which will allow us to ask a multitude of questions, presumably. I don't know how many answers we'll get, but at least we can ask a bunch of questions. And again, going through that process with a few official partners to help us cut our teeth, so to speak, on redevelopment.
Is this a grant that you're thinking of, or you're thinking of applying for, doing the application in-house or farming it out to a consultant to do it like the others?
I will seek the board and staff's recommendation on that.
Because fiscal year end is June 30th, and my July and August are slammed.
Slammed.
And I'm not a grant writer.
Understood. I think that will be a part of going forward and understanding what all has to go into it, and the various requirements of. My initial thoughts were, of course, with the city and Treese Hamilton at Coastal Action, looking at some of the basic information that would have to go into that choice neighborhood grant. Again, just my opinion, not making a decision. We still have a lot of stuff to look at. I used McIntyre Court as an example because of its location and the relatively close, the location, let's say that, the location, and the amount of property that is actually there.
I'm guessing the Community Action Network would have a grant writer on staff. And so if you're gonna partner with them, I would make that inquiry right away, because the grant writer, in my opinion, if I was a grant writer, I'd want to be involved early on in the process with staff. And so that'd be my suggestion. If we knew that they did not have a grant writer, then I'd make a motion that the board, ask staff to locate and let's get a bid from a grant writer right away, because with the deadline looming, you don't want to waste any more time. So I'll leave it with the recommendation that you talk to Ms. Hamilton as soon as possible to find out if they have a grant writer on staff.
Can we, do you want to form that in the form of a motion? To contact him, if not, then to?
Just contacting her, I don't think we need board action.
But if she doesn't actually have the grant writer, then if we had the motion, it would already take effect for us to contact the grant writer. Or, yeah.
I move that the board move with all appropriate haste to locate and hire a grant writer.
I second that motion.
I'll second.
So I got 3 seconds.
3 seconds.
That sounds.
We're gonna say, motion by Commissioner Kilgore. What he said, post all the haste for the grant writer. Second by Madam Vice Chair Bailey. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same. Okay, that motion passes unanimously. Is there any other reports of committees?
Yes.
Yes.
Moving forward, the residents are uniting, and whatever topic we wanna give on resident council, resident organizations, they're coming together to establish one. But the only thing that I would like to put out this morning is, going forward, that I ask that the staff cooperate with the residents on their need basis of what they need to put together to get the other residents involved, such as flyers. I understand that they're having some drawback about a place to meet, but we'll deal with that further as soon as they organize as a committee. The other thing I want to bring up about the resident organization is this. Last month, there was a resident meeting on May 24th, 25th, and the 26th. I came into this building and there was 7 residents waiting to come into the meeting, and we were here prior to 3 o'clock. We were here they were here way before me. I got here like 2:48. At the last minute, I was told that it was COVID, and so we weren't having a meeting. I don't see anybody in here wearing a mask. I don't see no COVID sign on the door. The other thing was, I asked when was the next resident meeting going to be, and I was told they didn't know. Well, evidently on his calendar, it was June the 6th, June the 7th, and I missed it, and one is coming up June the 9th. I'll be there tomorrow. So since I am on the resident subcommittee, I would like an email sent to me so I can attend, because I think this was purposely, I was remiss from this meeting, and I want it also added on the calendar, because the meetings were taken down after I said, how do the residents know not to come, or will they be able to still come? And these weren't put up on the website. Now, if it's up there this morning, it just recently got there, because I'm on that site every day.
Question.
Yes.
Just for clarity. Was it, you said there were meetings for the residents?
Yes.
Or meetings of the residents?
No. The first meeting I attended was in February. There are 3 days. They do 2 communities.
Who's the that?
Linda Rutledge.
So that's a staff meeting with residents.
Yes. And Ms. Strickland was taking the minutes. I did not.
Hang on. Listen, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to clarify. So staff has regular meetings with residents.
Not, I was told they're not regular, because the last one
Regular
was in
meaning more than
February
once a year?
4th. Yes,
Okay, and
3 days.
but the residents are also needing to organize,
That's
which is
separate.
separate.
That's separate.
Okay.
What I'm talking about is the staff has a meeting with the residents. Okay?
Is that, I'm sorry, I just want clarity. The meeting with the residents, is that part of their like annual recertifications and such and so forth like that?
No,
No?
no.
What are the staff meetings with residents?
Just to meet with residents, talk to them about what's going on in their communities, anything they want to talk, it's anything the residents want to talk about.
Anything the residents want to talk about?
Mhm.
Okay. But you guys are holding those
Yes.
regularly?
Yes.
Okay. And then, Madam Vice Chair, you're saying that there, in addition to those meetings, the residents separately are needing to organize.
Yes. But I
Okay.
don't go to the residents organizing meetings. I attended the staff meeting with residents, where the residents come in and say what issues they might be having, or what happened, or whatever. And so when I went in February, I took notes because they had maintenance issues, okay?
Okay.
And so I asked Ms. Rutledge, during our conference on Jekyll Island, when was the next resident meeting, and she told me she didn't know. When I got home, I looked on the website, and it was the 24th, the 25th, and the 26th of May. When I came for the 24th meeting, there were residents already sitting out there waiting to get in.
Okay.
When I came up, the lady that opens the door said no one can go back until 3 o'clock. And it was like 2:48. Okay. So she went back there, told Ms. Rutledge, I guess she's telling that the residents was out there and I was out there. And the lady came back and said she'll be out in a few minutes. Okay. She never came out. She went back there and came back and said the meeting is canceled. Someone came down with COVID. No one put a sign on the door. Nobody put a mask on the door. Everybody was still working. I asked the lady, was there going to be another meeting? She said she didn't know. So the lady at the desk, I asked her, was Miss Strickland? And she said, nope, she didn't know where she was at. So Miss Cooper came up front and said that Miss Rutledge was in her office, the meeting was canceled, she did not know when we'll have another one. And I said, if it was canceled, there's no sign on the door, because people still were coming in, and it's not on the website, because the meetings are still up there.
Okay, so, but we do have a schedule now for future staff meetings with residents.
It's not regular, I think it's once a quarter.
But,
Yeah,
I mean,
but it's,
I guess it's on the calendar.
this is not
Right.
on the website.
Am I correct? I think there's a,
I guess it's on the counter, but I don't think she had meetings this week. Yeah.
okay, so and I just want to be clear, so
Me too.
you want to attend the staff meetings with residents,
Yes, I'm not
Okay.
disregarding
And-
from them.
and you just want to make sure that you are notified well enough in advance to be able to go to
Yes.
have enough time to make sure that you can go to that meeting.
Yes,
Okay, and I believe staff can facilitate that, correct?
I will say yes, but that will be up to staff, because I won't be here.
Understood. So just to be clear, you just want to make sure that you're notified
yes,
in ample enough time to be able to make the resident or staff resident meeting.
yes.
Okay, that's good.
So,
That's good. So we can get with staff to make sure that you are notified appropriately. Okay.
and
All right,
I'm,
all right.
Okay. See, this is the problem.
Another problem, okay. Yes, sir.
But we're gonna resolve it. You brought some good points. Now, our initial conversation, ever since I've been in housing, Linda has been having her resident meetings. That's been already established. Okay, and what we're doing now, we're supposedly kind of unite people to form a council that's fair to everybody. But this is the problem. We got to come on one accord with this, whether it be, ever we won't be, because I questioned you, I said, the letter said for residents only. I was confused with that part.
that's two different meetings.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be two different meetings. It should be just one meeting with everybody on the same page. Or we're gonna keep going through the same problem.
No,
First
no.
of all, we need to form a meeting with Linda herself, so she's been in charge of this all along. That's where non-communication is coming from. If we can form a meeting with Linda, and come on the same
hang on, let me
page.
make sure,
We'll
I
have
just
some problems.
want to be clear, I just want to make sure we're clear and we're discussing the same thing. Ms. Strickland, board members, you guys, and of course attorney, you guys inform me, when Ms. Rutland has her meetings with the residents, is it fair to say that board members, residents, and staff can attend?
those are public meetings, right?
No, they're meetings with our staff and our residents, they're not really public, I mean, they're not private, but they're not, it's just part of our,
It's gotta be public for the residents to participate. Any resident
you know.
is coming in from the general public. But that, Ms. Bailey, I think's point is, in my humble opinion, correct, that there's a distinction between what I believe to be resident advisory board and what's being attempted with the resident council. And so, to Commissioner Dobson's point, they can't be combined because the resident advisory council is formed under statute. And there's specific provisions and steps for the residents to go through for the resident advisory council as opposed to what's a lot less formal, which is the resident advisory board.
Right.
Okay, I agree with that.
So,
We're talking about the same people.
So, yes,
Yeah.
yes. But it's the same thing as you are a commissioner of the housing authority, and also you are a resident, and you are our resident commissioner. Although, you're one and the same, but there is a
Yeah.
distinction. And so, just to be clear, we just want to make sure that there's ample notification to those board members who would like to attend the staff resident meetings.
But I like to be clear too, it sounds like that the staff don't want any of the board members there. That's what it sounds like.
We're no,
Yes.
we're not gonna do
I
that.
wanna make
We're not gonna-
sure.
we're- no,
Yes.
if it was proper notification going forward, and from my understanding, and I'm just assuming this is the case,
No, the
It may
reason I'm
not
asking
be-
for clarity is because it sounds like they rather the board members not be there, so we need to make sure we come in one accord with that.
That's my
well,
point.
that's why if you want to attend,
I didn't hear anybody say.
But see, that's
I know, I didn't hear anybody say that either. That's
I didn't
why
hear
I'm
it
trying
either,
to-
but I heard
I
Ms.
said-
Strickland just said.
Hang on, one at a
She
time,
would
one
rather.
at a time.
She would,
So-
they would rather be
So
a
hang
meeting
on.
with staff and residents, that's what
Commissioner-
I
I was
just said.
addressing whether it was an open meeting or not.
Right, I understand it. So just to be clear, and this is the one accord moving forward, I assume that the meetings are not necessarily held every month on a regular
No,
second Wednesday of the month. They are at some point at the discretion of
staff,
the staff.
right.
Ample notice should be and is wanted by those commissioners who would like to attend, and they should be supplied with that.
With the caveat, it's not a commissioners meeting, it's for the staff and the residents.
Right, it's not a commissioners meeting,
Right.
it's for the staff and residents.
Right.
But
And the,
So at that point, you understand at that point, although you are a commissioner, if you're in that meeting, you should be more observant in that
Mhm.
meeting.
right, right.
So are we clear that that if you want to attend that meeting, the resident meeting, please contact staff, let them know that you want to attend that meeting, and so that they can provide you with ample time when they schedule the meeting.
this, okay, so listen. It was already known to Ms. Rutledge that I wanted to go to the meeting. Just to
We're-
clarify it up, listen,
I
just to
understand that
clarify
clearly.
it up,
Let
but
me make
listen.
sure, hang on, Madam Vice Chair. Let's, are we okay with contacting staff at this time to ensure? Are we okay with staff, are we okay contacting staff to say, hey, we understand that it's not a regularly scheduled meeting. Please inform me of when you schedule these next meetings.
When I started out this conversation, I already suggested
Yes,
to
ma'am.
them, since I'm on the subcommittee of resident committee, right,
So you
So-
are comfortable with it?
to add me. They send an email all the time. Just send me an email, let me know when the meetings are gonna be, because I will be attending. Can't speak for nobody else on here, but I'm on the resident subcommittee, and I want to attend those meetings. Because residents go to those meetings to talk about their maintenance issues. Some of them don't come to the monthly board meeting. And when I go to those residents' meetings, since they're once a quarter or once whatever, whenever they come up, I wanna see if those maintenance repairs have been fixed. That was my conversation. And I will piggyback off of what Commissioner Dickinson said. I feel as though I was slighted from this meeting because it's not on the website. Now, whether it was canceled or not, I don't know, but it's on this calendar for 6, 7, and the 9th. So I'm asking y'all, so Ms. Strickland, you said those meetings didn't take place on the 6th and the 7th of June?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Who's the contact person for those meetings?
Ms. Rutland.
Ms. Rutland.
Mm-hmm.
Will you provide, go ahead and provide the entire board with Ms. Rutland's email address and contact information, preferably just an email address. Or I guess her office line so that the, through staff and such and so forth, they can, in addition, reach out to Ms. Rutland for the schedule for the meetings. Any other commissioners' items? Are there any legal matters?
To discuss some personnel matters and suggest we go into closed meeting for the purpose of discussing personnel matters.
Move that we suspend the regular meeting and adjourn to executive session for discussion of personnel matters.
Do we have a second? Commissioner Kilgore to suspend the regular meeting to executive session to discuss personnel matters. We have a second by Commissioner Dickerson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same. That motion passes. Thank you. We will be in executive session. And once we come out of executive session, then we will come back to our regular meeting for the
Yeah.
I stand or leave.